Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of philosophy, and we're discussing the chapter, very important chapter from the Stuart Close, that is the scope of homeopathy. And while explaining the scope of homeopathy, he tried to explain exactly where to focus. Most important thing is where to focus, because many times people enthusiastically treats which never comes under the horizon of homeopathy, and that's why they fail. So there should not be an enthusiastic aspect. Only you must be very clear about your fundamentals, that what it comes under the homeopathic sphere, and that only where, you have to treat with homeopathy. And in order to explain all those things, he tried to explain, or he has started explaining about where one should not focus, so that automatically you will come where exactly the role of homeopathy is there. So first thing which he has explained, that the tangible pathology or visible things which is not the field of homeopathy, but the disease per se, means the primary symptoms of the disease which expresses in the functional level, comes under the homeopathy. So even though the pathological case comes to you, you have to give importance to the primary functional symptoms of the disease, which differentiates one individual from the another individual, and then it becomes rather easy to prescribe. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to come to the remedy, because tangible products never differentiates one individual from the another individual, and you cannot get right remedy. Our aim is not to treat the tangible products, but our aim is to treat the individual as a whole, and consider the cause behind that, which lies in the interior, hidden interior, in the dynamic form, and that is what is our aim is. And for getting those primary symptoms of the disease, functional symptoms of the disease, it is necessary to understand the human being. In order to understand the human being, he has taken the help of sixth aphorism, and that's what we have finished on the in the last lecture on the page number 40. That is, the unprejudiced observation is very much necessary in order to understand the human being, and it is possible to find it out exactly what is the alteration in the state of health which converts into the state of disease, and that with the help of a physician's own observations from the patient himself and the attendants, you can gather all those together, called as a total portrait of disease. The portrait of disease, according to the modern science or modern aspects, one must understand that laboratory investigations, all varieties of investigations also becomes a part and parcel of this portrait of disease. But portrait of disease is a very big thing which includes normal as well as abnormal things. Everything comes under the sphere of portrait of disease. So portrait in Marathi, we call it hubehub chitra. It is exact picture of the individual is called as a portrait. So if you want to make a portrait, everything comes over there. But out of that portrait, whenever you have to prescribe remedy, what is necessary is the totality of the symptoms. And that's why Hahnemann have explained first the portrait. You must gather the portrait. Out of portrait, if there is, you find that there is a causa occasionalis or maintaining cause, remove that. And if patient symptoms disappear, you don't require medicine. After removing the causa occasionalis, if the disease persists, then you have to take into consideration the totality of the patient's totality of the disease from the patient, and that totality represents exactly the individuality of that patient, and it is the sole guide in the prescription. And that this is how he was going from sixth aphorism to seventh aphorism. So earlier he has explained the portrait of disease. Then from portrait of disease, if you find it out cause occasionalis, he says remove those, and still the disease persists, then you must take out the totality of the symptoms. And he has very clearly defined over there, totality of the symptom is nothing but it is an outwardly reflected picture of the internal essence of the disease, that is of the affection of vital force. So we were on page number 40, the first paragraph which we have finished. Let us go with the second paragraph. The tangible things which the examining physician finds in the body are not the disease, but merely its effects. So whatever may be the pathology, it's an effect, it's not the disease. It is an impossible, it is as impossible and therefore as futile to try to find a disease in the hidden interior of the organism as it would be to try find a thought by an exploration of the interior of the brain, the electricity in the interior of dynamo, or the song in the throat of bird. So people say that we are looking to find it out the cause of disease. Animal says, how can it be? The dynamic things you cannot find it out. It is impossible. And same thing here. That's why he has given metaphorically that it is as impossible as you find thought inside the brain or the song inside the bird's throat. Such things are known only by their phenomena. Phenomena means expressions. Metaphysically considered, they may be said to subsist in the dynamic realm as substantial entities or forces, but as such, they are perceptible only to the inner vision through the eyes of mind. See how poetical this fellow was. So he says that if you want to understand really what is wrong with the patient and what is the disease over there, then you will require eyes of mind. This is what the terminology which he has mentioned, and that has a significance. You must have that understanding, that capacity to perceive what is wrong with the patient in the dynamic level through the expressions, through the phenomena with which you can come to the right remedy. Otherwise, you can't. They are the inner, they are spiritually, that is mentally discerned. The metaphysical conception serves as an aid in the interpretation of the phenomena. So this is what you can find it out. The metaphysical presentation is in the form of phenomena, in the form of signs and symptoms. More commonly, the subjectives more than objective. So this is how it reflects, and this is what you have to find it out. Practically, however, we do not deal with abstractions. We deal with facts and phenomena with the symptom. So what he says, we do not deal with the abstractions. It is not important. We are not coming, yes, patient is having certain diagnosis, cirrhosis of liver, no use. Because you are not going to get remedy on the basis of that abstract. What we required is what patient suffers from, what is the phenomena, what are the subjective symptoms, what are the objective symptoms, what is how is the patient's constitution, what is the biasm in background, all those things where the phenomena getting expressed. The totality of these, now he explains the seventh aphorism. The totality of these, its symptoms, of this outwardly reflected picture of the internal essence of the disease, that is, of the affection of vital force, must be the principle or the sole means whereby the disease can make known its nature and what remedy is required. So this is how he goes from sixth to seventh aphorism, and he explains out of that what is needed is the totality of symptoms, and he says that it is the sole guide in understanding the patient as well as finding it out the remedy. The removal of all perceptible symptoms or phenomena of the disease removes disease itself and restores the health. This is that aphorism. Ectophorism is nothing but removal of the totality of the symptoms, means removal of the disease in its whole extent. See that effectus, see that causa. And this is what he is explaining over there. Hahnemann thus philosophically distinguishes between disease itself and its causes, occasions, conditions, products, and phenomena, and in so doing, shows clearly that the sphere of homeopathy is limited primarily to the functional changes from which the phenomena of disease arise. In other words, homeopathy is confined and operative only in sphere of vital dynamics. Underline this sentence. Where is the sphere of homeopathy? Wherever the disease is dynamic in origin and expresses in the form of signs and symptoms, in the expresses in the form of phenomena, then it has a significance. So this is too important to understand. Primarily, homeopathy has nothing to do with any tangible or physical cause, effect, or products of disease, although secondarily it is related to all of them. This is too important what he is explaining. So if a patient of fatty degeneration of liver comes or fatty degeneration of heart comes to you, that fatty degeneration of heart never gives you a remedy, and your aim is not to treat the fatty degeneration of the heart. You have to treat the patient who is suffering from this disorder. You have to treat that individual because of the disease he has developed a fatty degeneration of the heart, and that disease lies in the dynamics. Effects of the disease in morbid functions and sensation may remain after the cause have been removed. Sometimes it happens you treat that patient with the help of homeopathy, with a proper remedy, perfect remedy. And many times it happens that the tangible products disappears, but sometimes it happens that tangible products remains over there without having any symptomatology. Symptoms have disappeared and tangible products would have remained. Even though it remained, it doesn't matter. What he is saying, removal of the tangible products of the disease, if it be too far advanced, may have to be relegated to the surgery. If it persists after treating the internal dynamics, then you have to take the help of surgery in order to remove those tangible products if the patient needs it. Homeopathy deals directly with only with the disease itself, the morbid vital processes manifested by perceptible symptoms, which may remain and continue after the causes have been removed and conditions change. So very clearly he is explaining over there that homeopathy deals with such types of disorders where the primary functional symptoms of the disease gets vanished and it removes that dynamic disorder because of which the pathology has been developed. If that pathology persists, it doesn't matter if the symptoms disappears, if the patient is again comes into the function, whatever may be the things which he is doing, if he is coming to the same place, then there is no need about or there is no worry even though the tangible products remains. It stands to reason, as Hahnemann says, that every intelligent physician having a knowledge of rational etiology will first remove by appropriate means as far as possible every exciting or maintaining cause of the disease and the obstacles to the cure, and endeavor to establish correct and orderly course of living for his patients with due regard to mental and physical hygiene. See this sentence. What is the Hahnemann's aspect of treating diseases? Hahnemann never said that give the remedy. Every time if you go and read the philosophy, then you will understand Hahnemann was saying that you have to understand the disease first. You have to understand what is wrong with the patient, why it is wrong, is there any maintaining cause, is there any exciting cause, is there any obstacle in the process of recovery. If those persist, you have to remove them first instead of giving the medicine. Either you have to remove them, either you have to advise the patient to regarding the personal hygiene, you have to advise the patient regarding the specific exercises or auxiliary line of treatment. All those matters a lot, and then comes the role of remedy. Failing to do this, but little impression can be made by homeopathic remedies, and what slightest impression is made will be of short duration. If you don't do this, then you will not going to get results, even though your remedy is very correct. I have shared a case, and there are many cases like this, but one case I have shared with you, a patient who was having a very specifically left-sided sciatica, treated by one homeopath for 1 month with the colocin, then nothing has happened. And same patient was brought to me, and I have taken the case, I have examined him, and I found that he is having L5S1 disc. So I asked him, he was a doctor himself, very senior doctor practicing at city. So I asked him that you have to go for specifically 8 to 10 days complete rest with a lumbar traction, and then I will prescribe the remedy. And he agreed, and he took the traction completely for 10 days, and I have given the same remedy, the colocin. And patient cured 95% within 10 days after giving same remedy, because I have treated not only, I have not given just a remedy, but I have advised proper things according to his disease. And this is what Hahnemann says. Hahnemann never said that just give a remedy. If you understand this concept, then you will understand exactly how to treat homeopathically. Having done this, he addresses himself to the problems of finding that remedy, the symptoms of which, in their nature, origin, and order of development, are most similar to the symptoms of the patient, and to the proper management of it when found, as to the size and frequency of doses. So now he comes to the thing. After doing all those auxiliary measures and treating all those things, then there is a role to find it out a right remedy for the patient. And not only just right remedy, it should be in right potency and it should be in right proper doses. So everything you have to take into consideration. It is not just finding it out remedy and your work is done. It's not like that. So there are many things comes under the sphere of homeopathic management, and that's why I always say there is you have to manage homeopathically patient, and you don't have to treat homeopathically. While gross pathological tissue changes, organic lesions, morphological disproportions, neoplasms, and physical effects of the mechanical causes are not primarily within the domain of similia and therefore are not the object of homeopathic treatment. The morbid processes from which they arise or to which they lead are amenable to the homeopathic medication. Homeopathic remedies, by virtue of their power to control the vital functions and increase the resistance, often exercise a favorable influence upon the physical development as well as upon tangible products of the disease or accident. Thus, the growth of tumors may be retarded or arrested, absorption and repair promoted, even to a total removal of the morbid product or growth. Secretions and excretions may be increased or decreased, eruptions, sores, and ulcers healed. But all these happy tangible products results are only incidental and secondary to the real cure which takes place solely in the functional and dynamical sphere, quelling disturbance, controlling metabolism, antidoting poison, raising the resistance, and bringing about cure by dynamical influence of symptomatically similar remedy. So now he is coming to the very clear concept where there is a domain of homeopathy or scope of homeopathy. And he says over there that domain of homeopathy is not related with the pathology. It is not related with the tangible products. It is not related with the physical disproportions. It is not related with the congenital malformations. It is not related to the physical causes of mechanical, physical effects of mechanical causes. It is not at all related with all those things, but it is related with the dynamic disorders which are developed internally, expressing in the primary functional manifestation, and that is where you have your scope of homeopathy. Then you have to deal those cases with the homeopathy. The tangible products, even though they are there, you have to go first with the totality, the past history, the family history, the ODP of the patient, and then if you get all those primary symptoms of the disease, then it is quite easy to come to the right remedy because that only differentiates himself from other patient. Otherwise, with tangible products, it is not possible. There are many cases where the surgery is needed. For example, cleft palate is there. No homeopathic remedy will going to perform anything. If there is imperforated anus at the birth, there is no homeopathic remedy will. It is a complete surgical case. So you have to first understand what is a dynamic and what is adynamic. What is dynamic and what is surgical. If you are able to differentiate or discriminate between these, then you will find exactly where is the place of homeopathy. And this is what he is explaining over there. And then he comes to the very important point, which is called as DEX in exclusion criteria. There are 5 points which have been explained by DEX, that these are the cases which one must exclude, which are never comes under the sphere of homeopathy. And once you exclude, what remains is the sphere of homeopathy. So this is, though if there are any students who are exam going, always write over there. It is a topic for 20 marks, sometimes 10 marks, DEX exclusion criteria. This is the name. So you must write in those 5 points as well as 5 added points by the close. Total 10 points are there. You must write all those in your exam. So this is very important from exam point of view, called as DEX exclusion criteria for the scope of homeopathy. So I think better to stop over here. These we'll discuss in tomorrow's lecture, because we have to understand each criteria in detail so that it will be, you will never forget and you will apply it in your practice also. So that's all for today. Thank you. And today evening we'll meet again with a very short remedy again from the 4th year syllabus, that is cholesterinum. So that's all for today. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.